Can you really make a professional sounding song for free and with cheap instruments? Well, today I'm going to show you how using free tools and a cheap Squier Strat and a P-Bass. Hi, I'm David and welcome to The Producer Cat. Today, I'm here to prove that you can make professional sounding music completely for free if you already have the basic recording equipment. If you're wondering what those basic tools are, I recommend you watch my video Why You Should Start Making Music in 2025, where I go over everything you need to get started and share some great affordable but high quality recommendations. Today though, we are diving into the free tools you can use to make amazing music without spending a dime. So here's what we'll be using today. We'll use Luna by Universal Audio as our DAW. Luna is a free DAW that's super easy to use and comes with some great built-in tools like the Shape Virtual Instrument. It's intuitive, powerful, and I personally switched to it after years of using Pro Tools. While it doesn't come with built-in mixing plugins, we are focusing on creating music today, so that's not a deal breaker. For drums, we'll use Steven Slate Drums 5 Free. This plugin gives you 3 professional quality drum kits that you can choose from. And honestly, I think these kits sound incredible. For keys, pianos, strings, and other virtual instruments, we'll use Shape, included with Luna, and Spitfire Labs. And lastly, for guitar and bass tones, we'll use TSE SenseAmp and Amplitude 5 Custom Shop. I'll leave links to all of these tools in the description so you can check them out. Before we jump in, let's talk about staying organized. A clean workspace and a clear workflow are key to making the recording process smooth and enjoyable. So start by cleaning your workspace, clear off your desk, put away any clutter, and organize your cables. Place your interface somewhere accessible but out of the way so you're not tripping over wires all the time. If you're working in a small space, these little steps can make a big difference and keep you focused when recording. Now, let's talk about workflow. When recording, I always recommend following a process to avoid a messy session. Here's how I structure mine. First, I start with drums, then bass, then keys, pianos, and other virtual instruments like synths, pads, or leads. Then I continue with rhythm guitars, acoustic or electric guitars. Then I go to lead guitars and solos, harmonies, etc. And lastly, I finish up with vocals and backing vocals. This approach builds a solid rhythmic foundation first, which makes it easier to add expressive elements like leads or vocals later. Of course, you can adjust this order to fit your style, but starting with the rhythm section is an amazing starting point. So find your workflow and always follow it to stay organized and consistent. Now, let's hop into Luna and start making our song. So here we are in Luna. This is the main menu. And it is pretty straightforward. We have 2 important sections, the new section and the recent section. In the recent section, we're gonna find all our recent sessions we have been working on lately. And in the new section, we are going to set up our track. To set up our new session. So here we can change the name of the song. I'm just going to name it, Kitty. Just because I don't have a name yet. We can change the tempo, so if you already know your tempo, the tempo of your song, you can change it right away. If not, don't worry, you can change it later on in the session. You can also choose the location of your projects. That's pretty handy. Always remember to be organized with your projects. And that's it. We can click on create and we can start with our new session. Okay, so this is our new session. So it is a pretty straightforward interface. It's similar to Pro Tools or Logic if you've seen any tutorials of those DAWs. So we start with a main track or a master track. Here on top of the screen there's this little menu. We can change our BPM again if we didn't change it before. We can change it here. So for example, I'm going to choose 150. Here we have the click section. By clicking this little button over here, we can toggle our click track and we can change its volume over here in this little box. So I'm gonna leave it in 0. And to the right, we have our standard transport controls: stop, play, record, and loop. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and create our drum track. So for that, we're going to go here to the top of the screen and click on track and click on new tracks. And this little menu will pop up. So here we can choose the type of track we want. For example, we have audio track, instrument track, or a bus. In this case, we're going to choose the instrument track since we need to program our virtual drums. Now we have instrument. We can choose the instrument we want. So here we're going to click and we're going to look for SSD Sampler 5. Okay, so that's going to be the Stevens Slate Drums virtual instrument. And that's pretty much it. Here we have a couple more things that Luna has, but we're just going to leave them empty. We don't need them right now. They're just a couple of bell and whistles that we don't need in this moment. So that's it. We can name our track, so I'm going to name it drums. There it is. And as you can see, it opens our virtual instrument right away. So this is the Slate plugin. And here to the right, we can see our 3 free presets. Okay, so let me just click on one. For example, this one. We're going to double click on one and it's going to start loading, as you can see. Okay, so here we have it. Sounds amazing. Let's give it a listen with a preset groove. We can go here to the grooves tab and we can choose a groove. I have chosen this one over here. Let's give it a listen. We can also go to the mix tab and here's our mixer. We can change the volume of all the mics that are on this drum set. As you can see, we have quite a lot of tracks. So I'm going to go ahead and program a drum loop and let's see what we end up with. Okay, so this is what I came up with. Let's give it a listen. Okay, so that's it. So we're done with drums. We're going to go ahead and continue with bass. So we are going to follow the same process as when we created our drums track. So I'm going to go to track. I'm going to press new tracks, but in this case, I'm just going to choose the audio option. We'll leave the track as mono because it is a bass track. So I'll just name it bass. And that's it. Remember, we'll leave these ones empty. And let's press OK. So here's our track. Now we're going to add amplitude. So for that, I'm going to go to the mixer section or the mixer window. We're going to go here where it says view, and I'm going to click on the icon in the middle. It's going to take us to the mixer window. In here, I'm going to press insert. So it's probably going to appear on top here. We have to scroll down a little bit. And then we are going to click on inserts or on the plus icon. So here, this little menu will pop up and we can just type amplitude 5 and it will show up. So I have the full version of Amplitude, but I'm only going to use the features included in the free version of Amplitude Custom Shop Free. So here we are. So we're going to go to amps over here. I'm going to choose this one. This solid state bass preamp is the one you'll find in your free version of Amplitude. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to dial tone and I'll start recording bass. Okay, if you still don't know how to use Amplitude or how to set it up, you can find a brief explanation in my previous video, Audio Basics for Beginners, that you will find over here. Okay, so this is my tone. I put a compressor in front of the amplifier. Then here I turned up the gain a little bit to have a distorted tone. And I lowered the presence. That's pretty much it, as you can see. Here I just left the default microphones of the preset and I just moved them a little bit around. And at the end of the chain, I just put a tube compressor and a parametric EQ. All of these little things, you can find them free inside of Amplitude Custom Shop, so that's awesome. Let's give it a listen. Okay, sounds pretty good. So that's it. That's our bass tone. We can go ahead and continue with guitars. Now I'm going to create a new instrument track because we're going to work with some ambience instruments. So let's choose instrument and we're going to call it Path. In this case, we're going to use this plugin called Labs by Spitfire Audio. This one is pretty good. It has a lot of ambience and experimental instruments. It's pretty good. So let's go ahead and check it out. This plugin is very simple. You have a lot of instruments you can work with, but in this case, I'm going to use this one called Brass Pad. Let's give it a listen. It sounds pretty good. So one cool thing Luna has is that you can go here to workflow and press this little button. The second one, it's called Toggle MIDI Workflow, and it's going to open a little menu over here. So what we can do here is that we can turn on this button, and it's going to turn our computer keyboard into a MIDI keyboard. Let's check it out. Pretty awesome, right? So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to record a little part for our song. Let's give it a listen. Okay, it sounds pretty good. Later on we can quantize these MIDI notes so we don't have any problems with timing. Now I'm going to create another track because I want a little piano. So let's do instrument, let's call it piano, and let's choose the instrument we're going to use, Shape. This is the one that comes included with Luna for free, and it is amazing too. So let's go ahead and open it, and here we have it. This one is pretty good because we can add 4 instruments and play 4 instruments at the same time, but in this case I'm just going to use one. I'm going to click on the 3 lines, and here we have all the instruments we can load on to Shape. Let's take a listen at the instruments we have. I want a little piano. I think I like this one, so I'm going to use it, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to give it some effects. In this case we have FX1, which is a delay, and I'm going to send my piano to that effect. Let's hear it. Sounds good. So I want to record a little single note over here, maybe. Okay, it's a little bit choppy, but I can quantize it later. So let's go ahead and finish what we have, and let's hear it when it's done. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Let's give it a listen. Pretty good, right? I think I have to correct something over here, but that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and continue with guitars. Okay, so now for guitars, we're going to do the same as we did with the bass. We're going to create our new track. It's going to be an audio track, and I'm going to call it Rhythm Guitar. Rhythm Guitar. There we go. I like my guitars to be red, so I'll change the color right away. Okay, so the same way as we did before, we're going to go to the mixer to make it easier, and we're going to load up Amplitude 5 here. So let's choose some of the amps we have for free in Amplitude 5 Custom Shop. Let's dial some tones. Okay, so after tracking guitars for like 3 hours, this is what we ended up with. Let's give it a listen. Sounds pretty good, and it was all recorded with free stuff. I think we are done. We're not going to record vocals since vocals are pretty much self-explanatory, and if you want to get a good vocal recording, you can go ahead and watch my video Audio Basics for Beginners, where I give you some steps and tips to get a nice and clean vocal recording. So let's go ahead and finish up with the final details of our session. So the last thing we're gonna do is to render all our drums multi-tracks. That way we can have more control of our mix. For that, we're going to open SSD Sampler 5, and Luna has this little thing called Multi-Out Mixer. So we're going to click on it, and this will allow us to route all our drums multi-tracks to our mixer in Luna. So as you can see here on the bottom of each track, we have an out. They all have the same out, but let's just choose one out for each track. Okay, now we have each track routed to a different output from 1 to 16. And the next thing we're gonna do is to click on the plus icon over here, and we are going to add 15 more tracks. So since we already have our first drums instrument track, we're just going to need 15 more because we have 16 tracks inside Slate Drums 5. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just going to go over here. We'll make sure all of these options are set to known, and we'll just click on add. So as you can see, 15 more tracks have been created, and let's take a look. All our tracks here inside of Slate Drums 5 are going to be routed to each one of these new tracks we created. Let's take a look. I'm going to open the mixer, and we'll just see our drums separately here. Okay, now we have control of all the instruments in our mix. So that's going to be pretty good. And the last thing we're gonna do is to change the names, because we can't work with these tracks named as multi 3, multi 4. We're just going to change the names as we find them here in SSD. So let's do that. And that's pretty much it. We have all our tracks over here. Let's make this smaller. And what I recommend you to do when you finish all your production is to render all your instrument tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose all the drum tracks and the pad and piano tracks. I'm going to right click and I'm going to press here in the render section, bounce. That will allow us to have just audio tracks instead of MIDI instruments that are not really good to work with when you are editing or mixing. Now let's go ahead and listen to our final result. And that's it. We've created a professional sounding track using entirely free tools and affordable instruments. As you can see, you don't need expensive gear or plugins to make amazing music. Honestly, I still can't believe these incredible tools are available for free. I wish I had them when I started 10 years ago. So here's my challenge for you. Go record your own song, upload it to YouTube, SoundCloud, or wherever you want, and share the link in the comments so we can all track our progress and give some feedback. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to learn next. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more music production content. In the next video, we'll dive into music theory to make writing songs easier. Let me know if you would like to learn about that, and see you next time. Bye!